Well, good morning or good day or whatever. I just wanted to take a little bit of time to kind of, I guess, introduce myself, so to speak. As you see from the name of my channel, I am the painting hack. I say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek because as I've gone through and started this hobby of painting, um, I've really seen some masters out there, and you know who some of them are. You got that bi-painted guy, and then you got Les out there and the guy from the painting clinic as well. If you haven't seen any of those guys, I highly recommend that you do. Um, but I'm not at their skill level, and I don't know if I'll ever be, but you always have to have something to strive for. Um, so I thought I'd really kind of just start out with, I guess, a little bit of a short gallery on some Warriors of Chaos that I finished. One of the big disadvantages I have is I actually don't play any of the games. So I just do painting as a fun kind of part-time thing to do as a hobby, as it were. But because I don't play the game, I don't really know a whole lot about the models and the mythos and stuff like that. And I do look at things and read things and watch things before I start a project, just to make sure that I'm doing kind of the right thing and what I'm doing is canon. That said, I know that this stuff here, the colors are definitely not canon to probably anything out there. But when I first started, I had bought three of these guys that came in a pack, and they were snap tight models, or they go together with that glue. And the first ones I ever did were three of these. And I did one in a black, one in a red, and one in a yellow. And they came out all right, and I sold them on eBay, which is what I do with all of my miniatures. I sell all these things on eBay because I'm not educated enough in the realm of creating a website to make a website. Every once in a while I'll do a commission here or there if it's something that's not too involved or going to take too much time or somebody needs real fast, because again, it's a hobby. I have a normal full-time job, so uh, I don't work on these things, every waking second like some of the folks out there do to make a living off it, because obviously, as seen in front of you, I probably shouldn't do that. That'd be a big mistake. But anyway, um, and the guy who bought them, I asked him, email me back and let me know what you think of them, and let me know what scheme you like best. And he came back, so I really like the yellow the best. And as I kind of looked at a lot of red guys out there, a lot of guys in black out there. I mean, the Warriors of Chaos here. So I thought I wanted to do a yellow. This is a little bit of a pinnacle moment for me, so to speak, and I know it probably doesn't look like it, and that's probably really sad for me to say. It's like, wow, these are really, really great. But I mean, they're really not all that bad. On top of all this is these are all 100% magnetized. Um, so if I just take one of the dudes here, and they're also magnetized to the base. I got this magnetized base, again, off of eBay as well. And you just basically glue these magnets to the bottom, and then they stick on. So let's take one of the guys right here and just kind of go over uh, what makes them so great, or not. Well, like I said, first of all, he's 100% magnetized, so I could yank off his shield. And I got a big bunch of, kind of funny, a big bunch of spares here. All right, they're all painted, of course. Oops. And all you have to do is just find a left-handed piece, and it sticks right on. And now you have two-hand weapons instead of, there we go, something like that. Anyway, hopefully it will focus correctly. You have two-hand weapons instead of weapon and shield. And my understanding is that means something in the game, and I guess there have some games out there that are what you see is what you get. So it's kind of neat to have this so you can kind of swap them out. Just going over real quick on the paint scheme, and I'll try to do a tutorial on exactly how I did this before. Obviously the base is not all that anything to speak of. I can do better bases than this, but on the 25 mil guys, just a little bit of ballast and some tufts seem to do well. I usually have my bases overflowing a little on the side, and I did that before because I had a normal movement tray that was the same height level as these sides, so when it flowed over a little and you looked at it, it looked like it was one solid piece right across the top of whatever the whatever was on top, whether that's gravel or stones or whatever. When it's not on it and it kind of flows away, I will admit it looks a little bit messy, but it's definitely not bad. And again, if you want to do some really cool bases, you can. I know how to do those basically, but anyway. So getting back to this guy right here, and I'll take off this hand weapon real fast. Just kind of leave him there. And then we have his shield. So the shield is actually a really good place to start to kind of tell you what I did. If I can get it to focus that close. I think everybody seems to have an issue with these webcams. They don't. They try to autofocus, and the autofocus feature really isn't the most intelligent. Or you could put the autofocus off. Let's see. Here we are. So now I have to move this into focus. And you can see here, this is one of the shields. Probably not the smartest thing of me to put it so close to see all of the mistakes in it, but let's just go over it real quick, because the painting scheme is kind of the same for all of them. Maybe a little hard to see on the camera, but it obviously is a yellow, and it streaks from darker at the bottom to lighter at the top. Some shields are a little more pronounced than others because my technique isn't perfectly consistent. Nevertheless, if I choose another one back here that has a little more of a gradation to it, might be able to see it a little bit better. There. So there it is. And the technique for this was to first base coat it with black, or prime it with black rather, come back with a base coat of a very orangish dark type of yellow. In this case I used Citadel's Everland Sunset, if I'm saying that right. And after I did that, then I came back with Model Air Color Deep Yellow from Vallejo. And I started at the top and kind of went down to the bottom, and it makes it more vibrant. So it kind of changed like the dark Everland Sunset orangish color to more of a yellow. And then I came back with a Vallejo Model Color Deep Yellow, which is a very bright yellow, and just kind of got the top. And then mixed 1-to-1 Model Color Yellow with white and hit the very top of it. Then for battle damage, if you will, I came back in with P3's pig iron and made scratches all over the place. Whatever the scratch was large, like here at the bottom, I went inside of that and did a, this one's a little better to see, there we go, an even more lighter highlight with Quicksilver, and again from P3. You'll see it up here as well on the tip. And basically all I did is I just kind of wore the things where I thought they should be wore. I'm going to back the focus out just a little bit, you know. Excuse me. There we go. That's wonderful. Look at that. It's very clear. So this is what you get. And obviously this is really, really close, and I would say this is about 2 inches away from the camera right now, so you're seeing all the incredible imperfections all over the place. Now to finish off the color scheme, after I did that, and this kind of applies to all the models as well, is I painted the highlights, or anything I wanted, not the highlights, but any piece that I wanted, kind of break up the yellow, black. And it was just any black. And then what I did is I took one of the best colors you could really get out there, if you really want to get a very nice color, from Citadel's Balthazar Gold, I think is how you pronounce it. It's like a very rich, almost like copper color. In fact, Vallejo's liquid metal, liquid copper, is close to the same tone, but it's a little bit richer. And all I did is I kind of faded it from top to bottom. And it may be a little difficult to see, but there we go. You can see how it kind of flows down. The way I did is I just watered it down, really watery, and went in and kind of painted the upper half so that it was kind of tinted that color, and then came back in with just a normal coat and got the bronze in there, or the Balthazar gold. Um, and that's the basic paint scheme for the model. And then you will see after that that some of these gouges have black in it. I did a basic wash in some areas with your normal black wash, but for a lot of the small things like those little cracks and crevices, I did a oil wash afterwards. So varnished it with gloss coat out of the airbrush, and then hit it up with the oil wash to get all those little cracks and crevices, and then came back in and did a dull coat over it. And you will kind of notice here, and I also hit up with a little bit of gloss coat on anything that should be shiny. So a lot of the metal got a gloss coat, and silver, like down here, actually has a gloss coat on it to make it look more silverish, because whenever you're using just your normal paints, even the metallic paints, out of most of the lines tend to dry a little matte. So if you really want them to pop and you don't have the Vallejo liquid gold or liquid metal series, and hit up with a little gloss coat, and it does help. It does help make it pop. So for the miniature itself, if I bring him into range, let's see exactly what range is. Here we are. So here he is. I'm not fantastically pleased with the horns, but you can't get everything right. At least I don't get everything right. That's why I don't consider myself a pro painter. But you'll see here we did battle damage all over his armor, and then you have the black pieces in there, like this, that fade from the Balthazar gold here at the top. I can see the light's really shining on the camera. It's hard to see. I tone down the light a little bit. There. And this was painted in pieces, so I did not put this thing together. I did not assemble it until the very last step. So I painted the head, the front, the back, all in every single weapon and shield, all separately, and then put it together at the very end. So you see every single weapon is likewise highlighted. And again, when I'm so close, these looks like it's a real bad job. But for a distance, and if I put him there and try to focus on it. There we go. It's really not all that bad. And then from game distance, these look pretty nice. Shield in there. And obviously all the shields are interchangeable, all the weapons are interchangeable. I'll have to bring this other guy out here in a moment in the background that I'm fiddling with. There we go. For the rear, every single one of these guys got a different fur color. So what I did is I got every single one of my browns and lined them up, and basically base coated in brown, made a highlight with that brown, and then usually did a second highlight with some sort of off-white here on the tips of the fur. The cloak was all kind of done the same way. It was done with a P3's khaki color, very light khaki. And then I went back in and I did a Agrax Earthshade, or the Devlin Mud, whatever you want to call it, wash, and then came in with the sepia wash, and then re-highlighted it with the khaki color, and then used pigments to really get in there in the creases to make the depressions nice and dark. So I found when you do washes, they're good for like little things like this little hole right here. They're really good for that, and they're good for kind of toning. As you can see here on the side, the folds kind of toning them down. But when you're doing really big areas where you want a big area, recessed area, to be darker, it's better to do that with paint, because one thing about most washes, at least the Citadel line, is they leave a lot of watermarks and stains. You have to actually spend more time cleaning it up than anything. So I use pigments here, and I would say pigments. But what it really is just artist pastels that I grind down and use an applicator to throw in there. It works fantastically. Um, so every single one of the cloaks is a different color. And my wife's cat coming to say hello. Go away. Some of them, as in these two guys, whoops, the musician and the standard bearer, which the standards, by the way, are one thing that really didn't turn out very well. I'm not happy with it all. So I have one here, and it looks very highlighted, and but it's actually, when I go in close, it's hard to see. It's pretty messy, and I was not happy with the way this thing turned out. But once you get all this done, it'll be a lot of work to go back and redo everything, and I guess I just need a little practice on that. Here was the second one, because these come in the pack, come with two. So I tried a different method, and if you can kind of see here, that that shading right there, that's not actual, that's actually shading with paint. I did it with the airbrush and painted it all, and then I came in with kind of a duller color and painted all of it, all the front with that, and then at this angle, or about this angle here, with the lighter colors of yellow, and it gives the impression that here where the fold is, on the other side shadow, but if I turn it or holding the light, you'll see it's actually just a darker color. So this turned out a little better, and then I tried to make some kind of symbol here that was kind of commensurate with what these guys are, but it really didn't turn out very well at all, as you can see. Well, it's not all that bad. This is all hand done with a paintbrush, and you kind of see the scale of it. It's pretty small lines to do with the paintbrush, so not so bad, but doesn't really pop either. That particular color choice I used, which is white and black, didn't really pop very well, and I should have used like a blue. The back of it, again, done with pigment to show, but both the musician and standard bearer are totally replaceable on both arms as I yank all these off. And on here, I actually reversed the magnets on some of them so that you couldn't just fit anyone in here. Like this one doesn't fit in here because he has a certain one that goes to him that matches up with his right side weapon. And all the weapons too have highlighting on it, and I did something, you really can't see that at all, but somewhat interesting, I thought, is, you can see a little bit right there, I did a very light bronze color and highlighted it here on this side, and then on the reverse side on the top, and again with the lighting that I have, it's probably impossible to see. It has a nice, very subtle effect to it, but it's definitely not in your face. And maybe you can see it a little bit here with the, there we go, with the axe. You can see here out kind of gradates from kind of the lighter bronze color, and it follows the curvature of the blade and goes down. Not so bad. Again, very subtle. I don't do any very cartoony Games Workshop-esque type of painting where you have your base coat and then a very extreme edge highlight. I don't like the way that looks up close. At a distance, it looks fine. They really do. They look perfect. But when you start getting up close, you see they don't look so good. Difference is, I think these models at this distance right here, which is about 3 or 4 inches now, still look pretty good up close. And from even a further distance, and I'll do one more pass with all the guys here, at a further distance, they look pretty good. I obviously put the guy with no helmet as being the musician because, well, guys, quite frankly, whenever I see, and this is part of my OCD, whenever I see a guy with a horn and he has a helmet on, first thing is, well, how does he blow that horn? Does he take his helmet off to blow the horn? Doesn't make any sense. And little detail type things. I drilled the mouthpiece out of the horn, and that end as well, the reverse end of the horn. I think, at least when I've seen things, little details like that really kind of bring a nice finish and a nice finished product to it. And those kind of just makes it look a little bit nicer, and the attention to detail usually isn't lost. At least it's not lost on me. So these guys all get put back together just real quick. And again, I don't really play the game like I've said, but hopefully something like that is nice and would be something that people look for. This banner right here, the one that I especially don't like, is far more Games Workshop-esque in the painting scheme, and it looks not so bad from a distance, I don't think. And then, from what I understand, the battle's standard bearer and the musician always go in the front rank. And these little magnets that I got from this guy, and again, I bought them off eBay from some guy in Poland. It's a good product. Don't get me wrong, it's a good product. But boy, all I need is some tin snips, and I could do it myself and not spend the money, which most of the money was on shipping, because nobody here in the States seems to do them. Not that I'm trying to do them, but if I want to do it for my own uses here. Anyway, here they are. So the finished product, and I can tilt them since they're on the base, and I'll bring a little more light in here. There we go. And I really liked how the cloaks turned out, or the top of the cloaks with the fur. As you can see, they're all different color, which kind of really nicely adds to that variation. And then the leather part of the capes here in the back are all basically the same. Then obviously the skulls you do the normal way. Horns, another thing I'm not particularly happy with on this one, especially these shiny horns. I try to look on YouTube anywhere for somebody that knows how to do horns like they have off of Games Workshop, where you have the streaks of white, and black, and they kind of meld into each other near the base. I'm not sure if you start with a light coat and then you do dark, or you start with the dark coat and do light, but I will tell you they are very difficult to do. Just in general, and I did some black orcs that turned out really well, but I actually did another gradation with the airbrush on every single set of horns. It turned out beautifully, but boy, it was a pain in the butt, because then I had to mask them off and base coat the rest of the stuff, and it was a little bit of pain. And these guys, when they were just with their heads, which obviously pretty small, not very easy, and I suppose if I really wanted to, I could have. I tried a different method here to make them look a little more nature-like, which means kind of messy, not all very symmetrical at all. And then I put a gloss coat, as you can probably see on it, and then up close, they don't look so bad. They really don't. But anyway, so what I plan to do is a whole bunch of different, I hate to say tutorials, because a tutorial would indicate that I am the master and you're learning from me, but perhaps a work journal would be a better way to put it, of doing some of these type of things, and just kind of taking the steps and a lot of the tricks that I've found. I've learned a lot from the guys online and reading books, but I've also found, I'm sure it is with everybody, you're going to take somebody else's technique and kind of make it your own. And it works best for me. I have another set of these guys coming in the mail, and I may document doing these. I'll probably do the next set in a very traditional red with a lot of battle damage on it, because I really like the way the battle damage looks at a distance. Even as I'm sitting away maybe a foot and a half, you could still see the damage on the models, and it really has a very nice look to it. I like these trays. Obviously, if you bend them like this one is, they kind of spin a little bit easier, and I don't have one of those spinning things with the nice soft light and the music and the totally black background, and it spins slowly and ooh-ah. And whenever I take any of my photos from minis, I take them like this with a normal camera, because I don't want you to see some kind of weird, photoshopped or optical illusion, and then buy these things, give them the mail, and you're like, well, these really aren't as nice as I thought they were. The picture made them look a lot nicer. But this is what they really are. Good, bad, or indifferent. So we'll start going making these videos and documenting these different projects and trying to show as many tips as I can. I already did one on washes I think was done pretty poorly myself because I didn't have a good model to go off of, but I intend to do a better job here in the future. So if you like this stuff, what I can do, I thought maybe as well as put together a little bit of a slideshow, perhaps, if I could figure out how to do that, on YouTube of all the different projects I've done. I think I've probably done about 15 to 20 serious sets of they're all Warhammer, I think, models that, again, I've sold them all on eBay. They, anywhere from a little bit to a lot. I did some Skull Crushers of Corn, if I got the name right, and those were very popular. These guys right here, I think I'm aiming for about 70 bucks or so, and I know that's pretty expensive, so the price may go down, but new out of the box, these things aren't that much cheaper. And the problems I have with games where I don't order anything new, I buy everything off of eBay. So next video, I'm just going to do a quick kind of summary of how to get started in this and what you need and all these sort of things for the real beginner, such as I was not too long ago. So appreciate you guys' time. Hopefully we'll see you again.